Hey guys, Stealth here, and welcome back to another Ultimate Admiral Dreadnought scenario. Sent in by Louden Doney. It's part of the Pacific campaign that he's created. This is part 5. His Majesty's ships, they are joining the fleet. Or, well, they're joining the fight, not the fleet. 1945. The US may have numbers and technology, but the skill and sheer tenacity of our sailors has won us many crucial victories. We are holding our ground. However, the British have responded to the situation by sending their own fleet to the Pacific front. They must not link up with the Americans. Intercept them and neutralize this threat so we can fully concentrate on ending the US Navy's invasion. Now I'm going to be taking one Japanese battleship from 1936 up against two older battleships from the UK from 1927. As far as the rest of the escorts go, they have a slight numerical advantage, but that can generally be offset, not too difficult. One note, range must be set to medium, and super battleships are not available for this task. So I'm going to be unable to build anything that has, let's say, 20-inch guns. That would be a bit much. So let's go with something a bit more reasonable. Experimental battleship, 47,000 to 72,000 tons. Modern battleship 1. This is the super battleship. Let's go with the experimental battleship. Let's say that the Kashima is going to be trying to intercept and eliminate the two British ships. Now there's a pretty substantial tech advantage. They might, well, they being the AI, they might try to offset that with the use of torpedoes. So in this case, I will go with quite a lot of torpedo protection, because when I don't do that, I tend to regret it in more ways than one. Because not only will I have to just be more careful when dealing with torpedoes, I'm also more likely to eat a ton of damage from said torpedoes. Now what I'm thinking of is going with a fast battleship, one that's capable of going very quickly and having a forward firing setup. So mostly forward concentrated firepower. Let's see if this hull is going to be accommodating to that. It's going to be a problem with aft weight offset, at least I predict such. We'll just have to see whether this thing can make any kind of balancing act work. They're 1927 ships. That means that they probably have access to 18s at worst. Not necessarily the best armor. That's something I might be able to use. If I want to use a battleship to chase down other battleships, though, I would have to do something a bit faster. Let's say I'm going to do 33 knots. I want to have at least one funnel. Yeah, about that. Could I have it behind the whole ship? No. Okay. So we're gonna have to move this one. Oh. Really? Where do you want me to put the funnel then? Oh, just here. There. Alright. Right. And when I put the funnel in the middle, this thing is no longer attached to the main tower. Right. That does not make a whole lot of sense for me. Engine efficiency, 94.3%. I can make that work. Come on, there has to be some sort of middle ground. Because it seems like the Super Pagoda Tower forces the mobility of the secondary tower, like that. I just have to have just enough space between them to throw a funnel in. And that's not it. So, a bit more forward. Nope. But this thing stays attached. That's annoying. Secondary tower. Try again. Nope. Nope. Size on that thing is... Well, actually, the size on that thing could work. It's a pretty heavy tower, though. Long range accuracy plus 11 plus 7. Hold on, this thing is about 3 times the weight? You do get a couple of secondary mounts for it, but that's not really what I'm looking for with this design. Oh, come on. Secondary tower. There we go. It's probably going to be pretty uncomfortable to be in this position here because you're quite looking down the whole funnel. But, well, they'll just have to take it. Right. Fast battleship. 33 knots. Now, in case I want to close in, which I kind of do, I'm going to be dealing with smaller ships as well. And I'll have better penetration, simply because I am closer. Let's make it a coincidence rangefinder. What sort of Mark 4s do I have? I got 13-inch Mark 5. Yeah, but 13 inch is going to require me to get really quite close. Let's go with 16s. Could I make 16-inch side mounts here? Could that work? Yes, that can work. It's going to look weird, but nobody said that this design had to make sense. I wonder if I put a barbette... No, that's going to interfere with the secondary over there. Or with the, not the secondary, but the other turret. So these are 16s 3, there. Gives me 9 forward-firing guns, which in an ideal world can fire almost all the time, as long as I go bow in. I will also require a pretty serious forward-firing secondary armament, because without that, I'm going to get into trouble very quickly when it comes to dealing with smaller ships. So we can pretty snugly fit a couple of 6s behind that, which is... it's nice, but it's not great. I can put 5s over there. And then some 5s here, here, there. That's overboard. How do you expect me to work that? 2s. Right. I'm actually not too unhappy about the 4 weight offset. 1.5%, considering what I'm sporting over there. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. 1 8-inch on the stern. Not on the quarter deck. 0.3? Wow. Good thing that the superstructure is so heavy. Yeah, that's not going to work. Small barbettes. Yes, that will work. And you can even fit the 5... Yeah, right. Slight overhang. Let's go for something a bit smaller. 4-inch. Now, there is one thing that I haven't figured out, or that I haven't configured yet, and that's these. I won't really need that much in the sense of hydraulic turrets. I don't think it's going to be that useful. I'm probably going to end up with either a bigger ship or a smaller, or a slower ship. Oh, look at this. I'm I'm short 4,000 tons. Oil 3 can help. If I cut her speed down to 30 knots, I'm still too heavy. Anti-torp 3 would fix it. But then I really don't have a lot left for secondary systems. Because I would really prefer to have sonar 1 on there. If I make her bigger, it gives me a bit more room. I kind of like the whole compact build. There. But I think it was around 54,000 tons. There. Let's see what the ceiling is. There. 55,195. Gives me a little bit of displacement to put more guns on. Or sorry, to put more armor on. Standard shells are just going to have to be good enough. Turning circle. 647. But that's at my full speed of 30 knots. If I don't do that full speed, it's going to be better. Although still not as good as the AI, who magically, with 3 disabled engines, can turn on a dime. Don't ask me how they do that. Now, considering that this is going to be a bow-in ship, I'm going to be taking off the belt armor. And I'm going to be throwing that onto the belt extended. So, effectively the nose of the ship. And I'm hoping that that way I can tank as many shells as possible on the nose, have them deflect, and then ensure that the rest of the ship is not going to get exposed too much. That way, not even needing that much belt armor. Considering my 30 knots, I'm pretty confident I can dictate the range. Let's go with a bit more on the secondaries. That might have been a bit too much. Reduce deck armor a little bit. Boost secondaries. 7.5. 7.5. 7.8. 7.8's the top. Okay. Turret top armor is going to make it too heavy. There. Alright. The Kashima here has a 4 weight offset of only 0.5%. And she has a pretty decent defense against torpedoes at a torpedo protection 3. With auxiliary engine 2 and shaft 3, I'm hoping to turn faster, avoiding torpedoes as I go bow in. And the 16-inch guns over here are going to try and do as much damage to the British battleships as possible. This ship will make an excellent chaser. If she is being chased, if she's running away, I have very, very little firepower. So let's see if this will actually work. Alright, the objective for this mission is pretty straightforward. Neutralize the Royal Navy by forcing them to retreat for repairs. Damage should be significant enough to keep them out of action, or otherwise ineffective for the rest of the year. Send the enemy back to the Isles, or send them to the bottom of the sea. Ideally the second one. They seem to have a battleship with a lot of turrets. Let's see that thing up close. What sort of hull are you using? Hello. That's 12 16-inch guns, all in dual turrets. They have a very modest superstructure here, and especially the secondary tower. It seems to be very compact. The amount of secondaries is going to be scary for destroyers and cruisers at 14 8-inch guns. And the rest is 4 and 2-inch. Huh. Curious. I'm currently 23 kilometers out. So let's ensure that I turn bow in, because that's what this thing does best. That's what a turning circle of 664 looks like? Yeah, right. We need to have a word about that. My battlecruiser Haruna is my assistant. She has a lot of protection, fairly decent speed, turning circle as terrible as you can expect from a battlecruiser. 14-inch guns, a lot of 3-inch for smaller destroyer warfare, and a few 2-inch. Sonar 3, that's going to be useful, especially with that turning circle of yours. Stereoscopic 2 rangefinder and Generation 2 radar. Very good. Considering what we're up against... Yeah, I think a screening force can actually work. Or... Let's see, which way are they heading? They're heading that way. With my positioning... So they're on a course about west. With my positioning, I'm going to turn bow in, so I'm going to turn north. The Haruna, with her decent protection and fairly decent guns, which are firing Lid-Eye 2, that's dangerous. I want you to push in. Here, watch this. This is the Kashima, at full speed, 30 knots. And she is not even at full speed, she's doing 24 knots. She has a supposed turning circle of 664. Compare that to the battlecruiser's turning circle. Supposedly 809. She's also doing 24 knots. So let's say about full speed. But her turning circle is substantially better than mine. This is supposedly the turning circle of the battlecruiser. This is the turning circle of the Kashima. I'm supposed to have the smaller turning circle. The game is lying about the turning circle. Anyway, Haruna is going to try and flank. We've got Kumano and Akanagi, 8-inch gun cruisers, no torpedo launchers. These things I want to have screened for the battleship. I want to make sure that no destroyer gets close enough to pull anything funny. Light cruisers Agano, Naka, and Akitsushima. Torpedo launchers ranging 14.8, 21-inch, few bulkheads. I'm not a fan. What about the DDs themselves? Torpedo launchers 22-1. That can be useful. I want you guys to turn that way and maneuver to intercept. You got 1 launch per destroyer. And after that, there are still decent gunboats to intercept enemy destroyers and potentially light cruisers if I'm feeling particularly enthusiastic. Yeah, I also want you guys to screen for the battleship. Just don't drop torps yet. Alright, that should do it. Now let's make a pretty screenshot of the Kashima before she's going to get roasted by those British ships. Ideally not, but, well, it's pretty likely that it will happen. She opened fire with an accuracy of 3.2% already. I'm not unhappy about that. I do need to slow you down quite substantially, though. Because you're not going to slow down very quickly. And I need to be at a point where I'm not going to get hit in the deck. Because the deck armor on this ship is not that good. So I need to be at that range where the shells start to fly horizontal enough, directly enough towards the ship, that they're not going to be a problem. Because then the bow is going to take it. The nose armor, if you will. First hit against the battleship, doing very mild damage. Oh, this turret cannot turn properly. These can. So, let's say per battleship I'm effectively fighting 10 of their 16-inch guns, so that's 20 16-inch guns per. Or total. Not per, total. Destroyers. Yeah, we are going to cut in front of them, which can work if I try to launch torpedoes at them. I'm hoping that I can force them to turn. Haruna, what are you shooting at? Target the battleship. Kashima, speed. Still 20 knots. Considering that they're coming my way, I'm just going to slam on the brakes. That will wreck my engines temporarily, but these are diesels, so they can get fixed very quickly. 15.3. 13. That will do. 10 knots. She's just going to sit here, almost as a gun battery, opening up against the battleships. 7.9% chance to hit. Shells coming in from the side, courtesy of the Haruna. I want you to maintain speed. You're not to be a direct conflict ship. You guys had a torp to 14.8, which puts this battleship in your range. Who's leading that? Who's leading that? The Agano. Okay. In that case, detach. And throw your torps aggressively at that ship. We've got one Quinn launcher on the stern. And 2 singles. Okay, launcher away. You can turn back. You can independently screen for the Kashima. Agano, stand by. DD group. In a pretty decent position now. Let's open up on the torpedo launchers. We only have 1 salvo, so let's hope we can make that count. They will hit hard. They're 23-inch torps. Tsushima has launched. And that just leaves the Agano, which has not yet launched. But I also want you to start throwing your weight around. Tsushima, turn back. The Kashima has only inflicted 1 hit so far for 77. And I'm hoping that I can get all guns to fire if I position her just right. Because those side turrets... Yeah, there we go. All turrets are firing. Good hit on the British warship. Bow deck extended was penetrated for 146 damage. Okay, you seem fine. Agano, are they not in range? Yeah, they are in range. Launch. There. Torps away. DDs. Torps away. Not yet on the Coricchio. Let's reform that light cruiser group, at least somewhat. So far, the Kashima seems to be taking very little attention from the enemy. They seem to be focused on the light cruisers, interestingly. Akanagi engaging what is not a heavy cruiser, but a destroyer. We got one small launcher on the stern, and the rest is gunboat. 14-inch hits from the battle cruiser against the battleship. And we have managed to destroy some secondary guns. Kawakaze has run out of her torpedoes. So that's all the destroyers out of torps. Alright, I want you guys to slowly fall back, but not too far. This time around I'm going to try and keep them in the fight and intercept smaller ships. Kashima's range is now almost 12 kilometers. Which is pretty close considering what I have in mind for her. The battleship has detected the torpedoes. Yeah, but you're not turning the right way. Unless they manage to squeeze through this gap, they're going to probably eat these two. And this is beautiful, I'm opening up the broadside of the Queen Elizabeth here. To... oh, really? Yep, we got one hit on the stern. We're opening up the broadside so that the Kashima can pretty quickly turn her citadel into scrap. Getting better penetration values. There we go. A few bulkheads on the Queen Elizabeth. And the other one's the Agincourt. Their battle cruiser. 12-15-inch guns, but they're all bow concentrated. There's only one turret on the stern, so it's difficult for them to fire. Yeah, that was just the stern turret going off. Queen Elizabeth has detected more torpedoes. Originating here from the destroyers. She is trying to turn away as quickly as she can. Destroyer Violent is approaching. You guys, I want you to detach from the division, at least from your screening duties, and both target the Violent. We need that destroyer out of action. Because those torps could cause damage to my precious battleship. 8.6. Queen Elizabeth, can you turn? Well... oh, that was close. Really close, but there are more torpedoes in the water. Let's see, do I want to finish off the Elizabeth? Or do I first want to take some more chunks out of the Agincourt? Both can work, but I think it's better if I completely wipe out one of their battleships. Especially because then I can be more aggressive with my heavy cruisers. She's turning back to port. That's going to cause her another torpedo hit. And those were big chunkers. Those are 23-inch torps. Violent so far not getting hit. Kashima's range, still about 12, so that's fine. The chance to pen from the Agincourt to the Kashima is 21%. Let's speed you up somewhat, because the Agincourt is moving away. Oh, the battleship has shifted their attention. They're now trying to hit the heavy cruisers. Interesting. My DDs might be able to come back now. And the light cruisers, I want you guys back on the front line as well. Normal formation. Haruna, where are you at? Perfectly flanking. Could do with a bit closer. We finally hit the Violent once. Queen Elizabeth is hurting. She still has the ability to do damage, but it will be limited. My chance to pen, 52%. Let's switch to some high explosive damage and see if we can overwhelm the damage control. They have again detected torpedoes. I just don't know where they're coming from. Oh, here. That must have been the third launch from the destroyers. Secondaries on the Melbourne. Let's see if we can make the 6s. Yep, the 6s, the 5s, and the 4s are going to work on the Melbourne. Queen Elizabeth is still flooding. I want to see what the firing angles of those things are on the Kashima. Yep. That's the 6. Oh, sorry, that's the 8, the 6, the 5s, and some of the 4s. And the 2s are not in range yet. Which is actually quite good. I don't mind that. I'm going to slow down again. 8 knots. Let's focus fire on the Melbourne for a bit, because she has those torpedoes. They're 21 inch, and they are definitely in range now. So if I can wipe her out quickly... She is only a light cruiser, and that is a 16 inch hit. She's going to be in trouble. Look at that, the whole bow's gone up. With that level of flooding, you might not live for very long. A torpedo hit on a ranged ship. The light cruiser Pioneer just took a big chunk of damage from a light cruiser torp. And she's gone. Now the Kashima's 55,000 tons. Their ships are 54,000 tons. So the Agincourt is not that much lighter. Oh crap, the Akanagi is hurting badly. Melbourne is down. I want you to retreat. If you still can. Turn back. Destroyer is down. The second destroyer, the Scorpion. That's going to be your new target. The QE is at a very good angle. Auto. Secondaries against the Scorpion. 15% chance to hit. That is really good. But then again, we're pretty close for a battleship fight. At a mere 11.5 kilometers. Let's see if the Akanagi can actually make it out. Kumano, don't cut her off. Haruna. What's her chance to pen? 19%? How heavily armored is this thing? 11.5. Okay. QE just took a few more hits. Oh, it's unfortunate I don't have torpedoes. Oh, there's also a really high ricochet. Yeah. Okay. What's the Agincourt focusing on? I think a heavy cruise. Yeah, she's focusing on one of the heavy cruisers. On the Akanagi. That might be an opportunity for me to get my battlecruiser to push in. As dangerous as that is. To see if I can make those 14-inch guns do some work. More flooding on the Queen Elizabeth. You're trying to hit the QE. Okay. Fairly decent chance to pen, but let's switch to this one. Fire on the QE. Buoyancy dropping quickly. We're at sub 10%. 5%. She was a good ship. But she was not to be, for an extensive period of time, a part of the Royal Navy. New target, high flyer. High explosive. We need to get rid of these torpedoes. Or at least torpedo-capable ships. The Kashima is now doing 8 knots. Very, very slow. But the range is only 7 kilometers. I'm taking a lot of risk here. Hit. Immediately causing half the ship to go up. And she's also getting hit by, I think, a heavy cruiser. Yeah, the Akanagi. Kumano, come back in. Agincourt is getting clipped by the battle cruisers, 14-inch guns. The flank worked. But now the angle is not great. We're still chunking the Agincourt enough to cause her to flood out. Scorpion has run out of torpedoes. Those are going to try to hit the Kashima. Agincourt is down. That's their second battleship out of commission. High Flyer just took another big hit. New target, Walpole. The High Flyer is gone. The Kashima is going to run into a web of torpedoes. I'm hoping I can dodge the majority of them. Hard starboard. No, I'm going to take one. Narrowly dodging the other one. Rudder amidships. We have some flooding going on in the bows, but nothing too substantial, but we're about to get hit again. I knew this was going to happen, but the damage has been done. We've been able to take care of both of the battleships for so far. Oh, crap. No, 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 no. Hold on a second. Detach the DDs. I want you to engage the Warrego. Smoke up. And the Kamikaze. Why is there something shooting me? Oh, hello. Situational awareness of a potato. The Lancaster is at a mere 2 kilometers from the Kamikaze. Now, the Zealous is over here. Let's see if I can pen that with the battlecruiser. Oh, that was a beautiful chunk of damage. That was 2 pens, stern belt and bow deck. And she is heavily damaged. She's trying to take chunks out of the battleship, but I don't think she's going to be very successful at that. She has a less than 10% chance to pen, and those are 15-inch guns. With a pretty decent propellant as well. Smoke up, Corisio. Come on, DDs. Make it work. You got 15 4-inch guns. I also have 15 4-inch guns. My ship is somewhat longer than yours, though. So I don't turn as well, and you have more to shoot at. It has been a while since I had a DD on DD encounter. Oh, the Zealous is just about to get finished. Unless you want to be added armor to the battleship, I strongly recommend that you get out of the way. Smoke up. Oof. You took a hit that was not meant for you. Hold on. Hatsuzakara. Detected torpedoes. What torpedoes? The Warrego doesn't have torps. The Walpole doesn't have torps. There. The Blanche. That is what they were detecting. Can we pen the Blanche? Not yet, but if we get closer we might be able to. And these are fast destroyers at 42 knots. That makes them difficult to hit. Out of the 16,000 damage that the fleet has done so far, and out of the 16,000 that we did, 9.5 came out of the Kirishima. Good, we're only picking off smaller ships now. I know that I was supposed to cripple the British fleet. Not necessarily sink them all, but it is looking like it's going to be a sink them all. And yes, I had a slight tech advantage of a few years. But they had 2 battleships and a battlecruiser. Whereas I only had 1 battleship and 1 battlecruiser. This thing is slowly getting picked apart by the 2-inch guns on the DD? Really? Corissio's taking some fire. What's the Blanche doing? Ooh. That was a big hit. That was a 14-inch shell. High explosive. The Blanche is... No, it's not the only surviving ship. They still got the Lancaster. Whoa. What happened to you? 16-inch shells happened to you. Extensive fire. Okay, so Kashima, I need you to take out one more ship. The heavy cruiser Lancaster. Or should we let that one escape to tell the tale? No, I think it's more ominous if the whole fleet doesn't come home without any word as to what happened. That their last message was engaged Japanese fleet. And that there was not a word since. Now my own losses, I think, were none. None whatsoever. I had 2 heavy cruisers. I still have 2 heavy cruisers. I still have the battle cruiser, which has not taken any hit. No, actually she took a few hits, but they were blocked. All DDs are alive. I think I didn't lose a single ship in that encounter. The Kashima took some torpedoes, took them on the chin, and just continued on her merry way. Not caring too much about the inflicted damage. The Lancaster is just... What's she doing? She's sticking around 8-9 kilometer range. You should be running. Oh, this is going to be annoying. Maximum rudder port. That's what you're doing. I'm probably going to eat 1. I cannot turn the ship around fast enough. Let's hope they're not too big. 202 points of damage. Anything else in the way? No. But there are more torpedoes coming in. Different angle. Oh, crap. Haruna, intercept the Lancaster. You're doing 31 knots. She's capable of doing 34. Maybe we can just dodge this. Yeah. Top speed is now 15 knots. We're not going to be very quick. Ricochet is pretty high. Let's go for high explosive. Survivability. Standard bulkheads, 34 knots. Pretty bad turning circle for a heavy cruiser. Light cruisers. Smoke up. I completely forgot about the torpedo launchers on the lights. Ooh, that was the 14-inch shell. Lancaster's filling up. She has a damaged rudder, damaged engine compartment. And she's filling up faster than she can pump it back out. 29% buoyancy. It could very well be the battleship that delivers the final blow here. Come on, I need one good high explosive hit. That's all I'm asking for. One good high explosive hit. Because that will be sufficient. Another 14-inch shell hits. There. Fire chan, or actually no, that was just a fire. I was hoping for a flooding. Ricochet angle low. There we go. That's more like it. Flooding. Slows her down more. Haruna's coming in from a different angle. Haruna still has a pretty good chance to pen, despite the ricochet chance. There's another fire on the Lancaster. Damage to the main tower. The Kashima, despite her damaged engines, which for some reason are not getting repaired, she's still making about 15 knots. There we go. So, job done. That was fast. And that was the Japanese telling the British not to come home. Not to come into the Japanese waters again. I hope you enjoyed it. Louden, thank you for sending in the scenario. If you are interested in more scenarios of this campaign, linked in the description is the rest of the playlist. So have a look at that. If you have a scenario of your own to send in, you can do so through the link down below in the description. Currently, I'm only taking Patreon scenarios because I have quite a few other things that I'm working on, like Wargame and other games. So if you want to send in your scenarios, please support me on Patreon at the Naval Architect tier, and you can send it in. And aside from that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the weird build of the Haruna, and sorry, not the Haruna, of my battleship, and that you'll be joining me soon for another video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.